toes and eat the food that's in his domain. They do this, and they get closer and closer and bolder, till one day, that lion gets up and tears the shit out of everybody, runs like the wind, eats everything in his path. Because every once in a while, the lion has to show the jackals who he is.
Looking for a fast way to track what's moving online right now? Head over to Qnotables.com. It's a centralized index of notable clips, headlines, and references being shared across the community, organized for quick browsing. Use it to spot patterns, pull links, and build your own research list. Qnotables.com. Browse the notables, verify the facts, stay informed. All reports can be found on Q Research or Qnotables.com. Notables do not equal endorsements. We are researchers who deal in open source information, reasoned argument, and dank memes. We do battle in the sphere of ideas and ideas only. We neither need nor condone the use of force in our work here.
From the Q Research Board's April 19, 2026, top story. President Trump is escalating pressure on Iran after accusing Tehran of violating the ceasefire in the Strait of Hormuz by firing on foreign vessels, even as his representatives head to Pakistan for renewed talks. Trump says the killing machine must end, Israel remains a strong ally, and the pressure campaign is not stopping. Cyprus is now calling for guaranteed free passage through Hormuz, while broader analysis continues framing the regional fight as part of a larger geopolitical and financial struggle. Domestic politics. Representative Nancy Mace is demanding the release of congressional sexual harassment records and says the country should see an avalanche of resignations if lawmakers have been protected. Todd Blanche, President Trump's former lawyer, is now serving as acting attorney general. Representative Tim Burchett is warning that Senate Republican leadership may be slow-walking the Save America Act, while Anna Paulina Luna says more members have skeletons in their closets. Trump allies are also pressing the argument that Schiff targeted Trump from day one, that the deep state narrative is collapsing, and that foreign interference hoaxers will face consequences. Faith and American identity. President Trump is set to join the America Reads the Bible event in Washington and is scheduled to read from 2 Chronicles in the Oval Office. The moment places the White House directly into a national scripture reading effort. At the same time, the anniversary of Lexington and Concord is putting the founding era back into focus, and the story of Paul Revere's ride is again being used as a symbol of warning, resolve, and national memory. International conflict and foreign affairs. Spain is under growing pressure as unrest builds around the socialist government's plan to legalize hundreds of thousands of migrants, while Trump is openly criticizing Madrid over NATO burden sharing and its economic condition. Cyprus is pushing for protected passage through Hormuz, Kuwait is holding an American journalist after war-related reporting, and Russian-linked messaging is framing world politics as a clash between nationalist and progressive blocs. Trump is also signaling strong support for Israel while pressure continues on Iran from multiple directions. Election integrity and political accountability. Tim Burchett's warning over the Save America Act is now feeding into a broader Republican message that election safeguards are being delayed on purpose. Lauren Boebert is pushing renewed scrutiny tied to Anthony Weiner's laptop. Trump allies are claiming vindication over the Russia-era intelligence battles, and renewed attention is being placed on the 51 spies letter and the broader effort to discredit damaging information before the 2020 election. The message from Trump world is that accountability is no longer optional.
At shop.isawaya.com, everything you buy supports Acun.top, the place where people talk freely no matter what. Check out our Acun Honey Pot, a jar of yummy honey that's as strong as your voice. Put it on toaster and tea. It's not just honey, it's freedom in every bite. Then there's Acun Butter, a smooth handmade skin cream that makes you feel good while you fight for what's right. Awesome wood and pieces for display only. Hang them up or set them out. They're for showing off Acun's tough spirit. Want to help even more? Get a proto membership. So go to shop.isawaya.com now and grab some goodies. Help Acun.top keep free speech alive, and let's keep the ideas flowing loud and free.
All reports can be found on Q Research or Qnotables.com. Notables do not equal endorsements. We are researchers who deal in open source information, reasoned argument, and dank memes. We do battle in the sphere of ideas and ideas only. We neither need nor condone the use of force in our work here.
From the Q Research Board's April 19th, 2026 Crime, Corruption, and Scandal, Christian singer Phillip Vaught is facing a massive child sex abuse indictment in Tennessee. On Capitol Hill, Mace and Luna are both pressing misconduct-related issues. Archbishop Vigano is circulating a major allegation that Hillary Clinton and John Podesta helped trigger the crisis that led to Pope Benedict XVI's resignation. At the same time, conservative media figures are reviving uranium-1 lines, nuclear dust analysis, and older intelligence controversies as part of a broader corruption and cover-up narrative. Security, law enforcement, and surveillance. President Trump signed a 10-day FISA extension after a Republican revolt, keeping Section 702 alive while the fight over surveillance reform continues. FBI Director Kash Patel is threatening legal action against The Atlantic over what he says is a false report. The broader law and order argument is also being fueled by anger over sanctuary city policies, repeat offender handling, and demands for tougher accountability inside the federal system. Health, science, and medicine. President Trump has signed an executive order accelerating research into psychedelic-based treatments for depression, anxiety, PTSD, addiction, and brain injury. The phrase turbo cancer has now entered peer-reviewed discussion as a subject of public and scientific debate. A separate conversation is growing around challenges to Darwinian orthodoxy as some scientists revisit assumptions about evolution, information, and biological complexity. Energy, infrastructure, and agriculture. The Department of Energy is continuing its push towards small modular reactors as part of a faster nuclear build-out strategy. Trump's order protecting domestic herbicide supply is being framed as a national security move to preserve farm output and affordable food production. Nuclear material tracing and forensic fingerprinting are also back in focus, reinforcing the idea that recovered material can be scientifically linked to origin, process, and supply history. Culture, exploitation, and human cost. New attention is being given to the dark side of the Olympics, with forced labor and sex trafficking risks again highlighted as major concerns around global sporting events. Afghanistan's addiction crisis is back in view through documentary coverage that shows how deeply narcotics have penetrated society. The Sky King documentary is reviving one of the strangest aviation incidents in modern memory, and a bear attack in Alaska that seriously injured 2 soldiers is a hard reminder that danger does not wait for combat. Closing segment, President Trump continues mixing force, faith, humor, and warning into his public message. From Bible reading and patriotic anniversaries to jokes about not having time to be depressed and declarations that the hammer of justice is coming. The through line across all of it is pressure, exposure, and momentum. Whether the subject is Iran, Congress, the intelligence community, migration, corruption, or cultural collapse, the message being projected is that the next phase is here and the pace is increasing.
Every voice matters. The power of free speech is more important than ever. Imagine a place where you can share your thoughts freely, explore new ideas, and engage in meaningful conversations anonymously. With online anonymity, you can express yourself without fear of judgment. It's about freedom, creativity, and connection. Join the conversation that matters. Embrace your voice. Celebrate your freedom. Visit 8kun.top today. That's 8kun.top.
That's all for now. Stay alert, stay informed, and never hand your thinking over to anyone on a screen, including me. God bless you, God bless our troops, and God bless the United States of America. See you soon.
Do you remember what it was like when the 2020 election was rigged and stolen? Do you remember all the bullshit stories people told you about how the fraudulent election would be overturned? Do you remember the symbols of tyranny when fences went up around D.C. for Joe Biden's inauguration? Do you remember watching fuel and food prices skyrocket in a matter of months? Do you remember watching our borders being invaded by a virtual army of unidentified criminals? Do you remember watching our nation get systematically destroyed for 4 years by the Joe Biden auto pen administration? Do you remember longing for the days of winning when we had Donald Trump in the White House? Do you remember thinking he was going to die when the bullet aimed at his brain only grazed his ear? Do you remember rejoicing after witnessing the miracle that saved his life? Do you remember celebrating the epic landslide victory in November of 2024? This is what you hoped for. This is what you prayed for. This is what you voted for. So why are you questioning every decision he makes now that he's back in office? God didn't save his life so he could make mistakes. He knows what he's doing. Maybe it's time to shut the fuck up and let him cook. This has been a public service announcement paid for by the Dilly